And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series. From Seth Xenomon Official, Ronald Macdonald's Pokemon Team. Put a smile on, miss your right hand. Actually, it's your left hand in this image. I did not know when I picked this image for Ronald Macdonald that the bottom of his right foot and all of his right and left hand were missing. It should be looking more like this, but whatever. It's all good. I'm not going to change it. I just find that kind of amusing. So anyway, Ronald Macdonald. There is enough that we can go off with Ronald, despite the fact he is a mascot of a franchise, to make a good enough team with him, I think. But I'll admit, half his team is going to just essentially be him, his friends converted into Pokemon. That being said, he still has to have a starter, and his starter would be Mr. Rhyme. Not Mr. Mime. Now, really, there's not a lot we can do for clowns in terms of Pokemon, and Ronald Macdonald is a clown. I mean, could I do Mr. Mime? No, Mr. Mime is a mime. He is designed more like a clown, admittedly, but he is Mr. Mime. He's a mime. But Mr. Rhyme, even though it evolves from Mr. Mime, is not quite it's not quite a clown, but certainly not a mime anymore. I'd say, I mean, with that clown face on his body, it's very, very much more of a clown design, I'd say. He's a tap dancer, really. Tap dancer with a cane. But still, he does have enough clown-like attributes, I think, that we can make that his starter. Plus, he's an entertainer, which Ronald definitely is. Then we have to give him his buddy, Grimace. Now, Grimace is basically a thief. Like, there's not much to that. And unfortunately, when we look at all the Pokemon that are actually thieves, there actually aren't a lot of them. So I just went with a tried and true when you're looking for a bandit or something like that, Thievul. And he's got the little mustache, and he's got the bandit mask and all that. I could have maybe gone with a Zigzagoon or something like that. They do kind of look like thieves as well, a little bit. But ultimately, I went with Thievul. I think that just works in this case. But then there's a big boy here. Then there's his ace. Well, not quite his ace. One of his aces. And that would be Grimace. Now, why is Grimace his ace? Well, Grimace is a large purple guy who just likes to give hugs and is a friend of Ronald. Well, I went with Mega Gengar. Reason it's Mega is because Ronald's the kind of guy who almost certainly would have a Mega if one of his Pokemon, if that's, you hear noise in the background, it's my dog scratching her ear. Her leg hits the ground and it taps. But anyway, whatever Pokemon he has on his team that could have a Mega, hypothetically, like Gengar, which represents Grimace here, it would make sense he'd have the Mega version of it because he is just so bonded with his friends and, he's very good friends with everyone. So it would make sense that it would be a Mega Gengar. But a reason for that is, despite the fact that Gengar has so much, lore behind it of, stealing people's souls and all that, or just, scaring people to death, Gengars have often been depicted as actually being very not scary Pokemon. They do actually like people. So, and, we saw in the anime the stories of Gengar that got abandoned and Ash ultimately adopts it and it's one of his best friends and becomes friends with him. You get the Gengar he met the first time in season 1. So I think this actually can make sense and it would make sense that despite the way he looks, he's actually very friendly because he always has the kind of Jones. He likes to play pranks and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's not quite Grimace, but at least physically it looks close to the Grimace. Then for Birdie looks like a duck, so I went with Ducklet. It's the only unevolved mon on his team. Not that if it were fully evolved, it'd be that big of a difference for how well this team does, but still. There's not much else to say on that. There you go. Now, last two, though, I did. One of them was pretty obvious for me, because it's the only other clown I can think of. But then you have the other one. Now, Ronald is obviously very good with kids, friend to kids, and Drampa is that as well. He's basically an old grandpa dragon who's actually very fond of kids and very protective of kids. That would be Ronald very encapsulated. He's just trying to help kids, put a smile on. And, he enjoys helping them. Also, Ronald's an old character, so this makes sense, too. Last but not least, though, there is the last clown-based Pokemon I know of. At least that I didn't go in depth for. There aren't a lot, mind you. And that would be his secondary ace, Blacephalon. Now, Blacephalon is very much kind of based off a clown. It's even got a bit of a Pennywise vibe to it. But, and, I mean, its whole motif is it takes its head, throws it, explodes, and it grows its head back. I don't know if Ronald can do that, but, I mean, adding fireworks, Ronald's been shown to have magical abilities. So that's not entirely out of the equation. So therein lies your Pokemon team for Ronald Macdonald. Now, how balanced is this team? Fairly well balanced. It's got a ×3 weakness to rock with your fire, your ice, and your flying type. It's got a ×3 weakness to dark types as well with your 2 ghosts and your psychic type. ×2 weakness to ground with your fire type and your who's the other one that had the weakness to ground? Oh, a Gengar, because Gengar doesn't have levitate. 2 times weakness to bug with your psychic type and your dark type. Your ×2 weakness to fighting with your dark type and your dragon type, normal type. ×3 weak times that's you sorry. I did get that right. ×2 weakness to fighting. In fact, I forgot to write that. How did I forget to write that? Fighting. There we go. And I'm just, yeah, okay, fighting, ×2. I actually didn't write it. I was looking at the other list I had for the strength. ×3 weakness to ghost. Your 2 ghosts are weak to ghost and the psychic type. A ×3 weakness to, a ×2 weakness to fairy, dragon and dark, respectively. ×2 weakness to ground, as I said. But on the upside, it does have ×2 strength against dragon, with having both a ice type and a dragon type on the team. ×3 strength against grass types with your fire type, your poison type, and your flying type. ×2 strength against ground with your water type and your ice type. ×3 strength against psychic with your 2 ghost types and your dark type. ×3 strength against ghost with the same there. And ×2 strength against bug with your flying and your fire type. So it does balance out. There is a lot of overlap, though, which is a bit of a problem. I'm going to get it right out of the way right now. In Johto, you will not become champion because you won't get past Bugsy. Just can't do it because Mime Jr. doesn't even evolve until it gets into 30s, and it's going to get clapped by the bug typing, as is Nickit. And you wouldn't even be able to beat Lance, quite frankly, I don't think. You only got really 2 options against Lance, and unfortunately, Mr. Rhyme is not fast enough to really be going up against that team. And Drampa is fine, but it's just not going to be able to go up against 3 pseudo-Dragonites, pseudo-legendaries. Mega Gengar can only put in so much work itself. So, yeah, no, you can't become champion there. You would not be able to beat the first gym in either Hoenn or Sinnoh or Kalos or even Galar. Well, that's not true. Or Paldea. Hoenn, Sinnoh, Kalos, and Paldea. You would not be able to even beat the first gyms in those regions. This just comes down to the fact that you have a psychic Mime Jr. 2 of those, Kalos and Paldea, have bug types. Sinnoh and Hoenn have rock gyms that are just too strong for you to deal with. Now, could you beat their champions if you did get all the way there? The only one you could actually beat if you got all the way through them is either Diantha, and that's a maybe, because there's a lot of back and forth you're going to have to do with that. For example, you start with Mr. Rhyme, that it could probably deal with Hawlucha, honestly, but then Tyrantrum comes in, and it's gonna take it down with a head smash. So you need to get that thing out of there. The problem is whatever you put in is going to take a hit. So honestly, Mr. Rhyme probably has to either go down and get what damage you can out on it, or you're going to have to make this hard choice on this. My money would be just to get rid of Mr. Rhyme. Unfortunately, after that, though, you're going to have to go into Mega Gengar, because you can't risk Blacephalon yet. So you'd go Mega Gengar, you'd probably square up with them for a little bit. Mega Gengar's probably going down by the Goodra. It probably will get through Auroras, but the Goodra's tanky enough to beat it down. Then you're in trouble, really. Drampa can do some damage, but not a lot. Gourgeist, yeah, you have both Nickit and the other 3 you have there, but Gourgeist is still going to be fully evolved and have better stats than both of them. The only one you got that's really going to be able to do anything is Blacephalon. You still should save that for Gardevoir. So then it's going to be Mega Gardevoir versus Blacephalon. So it's not a guaranteed loss, but certainly not a guaranteed win. The only other one you could guarantee beat would definitely be Gita. That one I think you could beat because Gita's just really easy to deal with. I mean, she starts with Pathra. Mr. Rhyme can pretty much just kind of go toe-to-toe for a little bit with it. You probably would win that fight. Veluza would probably take down the Mr. Rhyme. So then you just bring out Ducklet, get the damage you can out. Then bring out Nickit, who would be the psychic abilities, take that thing down. Then I believe it is Go-Goat she brings out. You could trade blows. Then she brings out King Gambit. King Gambit will be tricky, but using Bucephalon, you can take down, honestly, both and Avalok, no problem. And then, frankly, you can take down the Glamora, which isn't that hard. But you still can't beat the first gym anyway, so it doesn't matter. In the regions, you can get past the first gym. Let me rephrase that. In the regions where you essentially can get to the champion, the only places you can actually be champion are Kanto, honestly. Like, legit. It's the only region I can guarantee you can get through the entirety of the region with this team. Because the other regions, like Hoenn, for example, you might be able to get past Roxanne. But you're not getting past Brawly simply due to the fact that Nickit goes down immediately and Mime Jr. just doesn't have the stats even with psychic abilities. You want proof? Try just going up against it with a Poochie, that gym with a Poochie and a Ralts. Doesn't happen. And then it's possible you could beat Steven. Because Bucephalon can put in a lot of work, and Gengar is a good counter for Metagross. But you're still struggling just at the gate with that Skarmory, and you do not want to risk your Bucephalon if you can help it. You save Bucephalon for last if you can help it. Because he still has a ground type, a rock type that's neutral. In fact, two rock types that are neutral. Two rock types that are neutral to steel. Or fire. So, because Anorus and Lily are neutral to fire. They're not weak against it thanks to their rock typing. So that's a hard maybe. Unova, you end at Elise, unfortunately. Actually, you don't rephrase that. You don't even get past the second gym, quite frankly. I think with some luck you could get past the first gym. Although the Lillipups do no bite, which means your Mime Jr. actually would go down. So actually, no, you can't even get past the first gyms in either region because of those dark type moves. It not happening. And then could you beat either of Alder or Iris even if you could get past there? And the answer to that is a very resounding no. Freaking Alder right out the gate has a Selgor. It's going to take down the Mr. Rhyme. Even if you swap out for like Bucephalon, which would really be your only good avenue against a Selgor, it's going to take a hit from a Selgor, and it does not have the best defense. It is a glass cannon mon. It is the definition of it. And a Selgor is still going to outspeed it, which means it's getting 2 hits off on the Bucephalon. So you're better off just letting the Mr. Rhyme die. Then, see, at that, the problem is like you also need to save Bucephalon for Excavalier. See, this is the problem right at the gate. You probably want to go Mega Gengar, honestly. And even then, that's not a guaranteed win against a Selgor. A Selgor is still going to get a hit in. It's still going to outspeed that Gengar, if I'm not mistaken. So then he's going to have to bring in probably Druddigon or Vanillix. Those are probably going to be the options after that. Or he's going to bring out, to be fair, he might bring out Scavalier because it's immune to poison. And the problem is, you can't just swap in to Bucephalon. You gotta let the fight run its course. Now, you might still be able to beat the Selgor, but Mega Gengar's probably taking major hits from this fight if it doesn't go down. So then he brings out something that brings down the Mega Gengar. It's probably going to be, honestly, to be fair, the Buffalon does have non-normal moves. It's got Head Smash, and it's going to be immune to Ghost type moves. So that's probably going to be his next move. After that, though, it's a crapshoot. Just go Ducklet, get what damage you can in with that, and then you go Nickit, I guess. Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, it's kind of a crapshoot because he's still got Vanillux. He's still got Druddigon, which you probably can just counter Drampa, but then he's got Volcarona. And one quiver dance off that thing, and it's good night, Irene, because even the Blacephalon's not going to be able to do crap against that thing, because it's now neutral. It's completely neutral to fire. So anyway, yeah, you can't beat Older. And Iris starts out with a freaking Hydreigon, which is going to outspeed that freaking Mr. Rhyme, and it has Flamethrower, so Mr. Rhyme's done. And Drampa's not going to be able to do anything, so you're pretty screwed right out the gate with Iris. And then last but not least, in Kalos, you might be able to get past a few of the gyms at first. Maybe. But, like, maybe, because we're talking about Mime Jr., maybe, because it would be leveled up, hopefully, to, I give the benefit of the doubt and go as much as 2 levels higher. Maybe because of psychic abilities, you could beat Milo. And then because you would have a fully evolved, a Thievul, not a Nickit, because of the level cap on that. It evolves pretty early. You might be able to beat Nessa. Unfortunately, I do not see you would have Mega Gengar. To be fair, you would have Mega Gengar by the time you're facing Kafu. That's a tough one though. It really is. And then you're going into the next gym, which is a fighting type gym, which again, you might have Mr. Rhyme at that point, Mr. Mime, but Mr. Rhyme takes longer to get. Ducklet just doesn't have the stats to last long. Really, your best option is Mega Gengar, assuming they don't have any dark moves. And then that's only if you're going against B. If you're going against Alistair, you are going to actually be in a lot of trouble, because even though Thievul has an advantage, the rest of your team does not. The long and short of it is, if you got all the way to Leon, you would lose. Aegislash couldn't take down the Mr. Rhyme, quite frankly. You would then probably bring out either Thievul or Mega Gengar just to deal with it. And even then, you probably want to deal with the Mega Gengar. You probably go with the Thievul to get the damage in, hopefully without needing to use the Mega Gengar. But then if you have to, throw the Mega Gengar in when you're dealing with the Dragapult. But the Dragapult outspeeds and no Shadow Ball. Both these guys are going to trade blows. Even if you take down the Dragapult, the Mega Gengar is nearly done. He brings out Haxorus next, which would beat the Mega Gengar at that point. At that point, you're out of luck, because he's going to resist fire. He's going to be neutral to Ghost. So Blacephalon's not going to do much. Even if you beat the Haxorus, he's still got 3 other Mon. One of them is a starter, and the other 2 of them are stars. One's Charizard. Yeah, you could not beat Leon with this team. Are there regions where you hypothetically could be the champion? Yes. Are there many? No. Is Ronald Macdonald's team very balanced? More or less. It's not terribly unbalanced. It's definitely got some heavy hitters on it. Is it? Oh, but is Ronald Macdonald's team designed to be a champion team? No, because none of the teams are designed. They're designed to fit the character. And Ronald, honestly, as a character, wouldn't even be caring about being champion anyway. Let's be fair. Regardless, that is Ronald Macdonald's Pokemon team. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for next week's Pokemon team, and I'll see you on Monday for who would win, and any other random videos I get in the urge to do. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.